Hello, good morning. I mean, good afternoon. Today I'm going to be making my kettle corn, and I had found a kettle corn like this one, popper, at the thrift store, but it fell apart on me. So I actually ordered one from Bass Pro Shop and got it in actually in one day here in Harlingen. And I'm just washing it with warm soapy water, and then it needs to be seasoned. Seasoning is when you spread the oil inside, and you warm up, say your pan, in this case the popper. You warm it up, you heat it up, so that oil gets ingrained into the pan, and there'll be less sticking, to the pan, and it'll make it easier to clean as well. So that's what I'm going to do first, and then dry it, wash this, dry it, season it, and then I'll be making my kettle corn. Okay, so I finished seasoning my pan, and remember, that's just spreading a thin layer of oil inside your pan and heating it up. I knew when it was done because I could smell the oil and actually began to smoke a little bit, which is fine. Just make sure you keep an eye on your pan, and you can just remove it from the heat, and it should be fine. And this pan is aluminum, so you cannot allow it to get too hot. Actually, I should slide it over so it doesn't stay on the heat. Okay, so for your kettle corn, it's actually super simple. All you need is popping corn, oil. You can use whatever oil you like to use, and regular granulated sugar. And the general recipe, it calls for a half cup of popping corn. I like to use about, this is a cup, measuring cup, 1 cup. I actually like to use about 3/4 of a cup, maybe to right here, just because each type of popcorn, it pops differently, and some are less in amount, and some actually pops more. And if I'm not mistaken, this one's a little bit less. And I like to make sure that I get a good amount whenever I make my kettle corn. And also, it'll be a 1/4 cup of oil, and actually a 1/4 cup of sugar. This is a 1/3 cup measuring cup, but I'll put a little less. I kind of guesstimate. And once if you usually, bake, or you like to make, you like to be in the kitchen, you can more or less guesstimate how much a 1/4 cup is. It would be slightly less than this 1/3 cup, right? So, that being said, there is a certain way that you put the ingredients in, and I'll get to that in a little while. And also, as far as the oil, remember that if you're using like this one, it's a sunflower seed oil. Remember, like allergens, if you're sharing with someone, if they might have a nut allergy, just be mindful of that. Also, you want to have a deep bowl, something to transfer your popcorn into. And also, if you have baggies or airtight container, once it's cooled a little bit, to transfer your kettle corn into, so your kettle corn doesn't get stale. You want it to be fresh and crisp still. And if it gets a little moisture, it's not going to be. But if you keep it in an airtight container, even just the baggies that I use with a twist tie, you will it'll keep fresh for several days. So we'll get on to making our kettle corn. Okay, so I'm back. Um, you're gonna want to put the temperature of your the on your stove about. I wouldn't put it at medium. I'd put it a slightly higher temperature than medium, whatever your stove has. Some of you have numbers like 1 through 6 or 1 through 8. Mine is a little more complicated, but I'm using the medium-sized burner, and I'm going slightly more than medium. And I already placed my oil. And one thing I did forget to tell you is salt. You wouldn't have kettle corn without salt, so you do need salt, and that actually goes on last. But the first things that's going to go into your kettle corn maker or popcorn maker is a few kernels of your popcorn. Just 3 or 4. It doesn't have to be that much. And I will give this a few turns, and that's about it. And I did measure out. I did use a 1/4 cup of oil, and I have about a 1/4 cup here. So you notice I didn't fill it all the way because this is a 1/3 cup measuring cup. So remember, it's a 1/4 cup to a 1/4 cup. And I have about 3/4 of a cup of popcorn. So, and you will be listening for those popcorn kernels to pop. It takes a few minutes, depending on how quick your pan heats up, how quick your stovetop heats up. Oh, excuse me if I'm out of breath. I'm just super excited. So, once you hear those popcorn kernels popping, then you're going to quickly throw in the rest of your popcorn. And you don't want to leave this open too long because one, the heat will escape, and also if you have children and this is something that you want to do with your children, you do not leave them unsupervised, because once you put the sugar in there, there's little vents here, and that hot sugar can come up and burn them and burn you too. Like, just be very cautious. I've even seen some people that make the kettle corn, and they wear very long like pot holder gloves. Those they're longer than, they don't go to just the wrist, they go up higher, and that's one of the reasons why I wore this. It doesn't happen often, but it is a possibility. That's all I'm saying. Even goggles, people wear goggles. But I haven't really had any issues. You just got to be mindful of what you're doing and keep a safe distance. And there goes our first pop. So the rest, and you'll want to turn that around. And once you hear the popcorn popping again, you will want to add the sugar. Once you add the sugar and your popcorn begins to pop, you're going to want to continuously stir the popcorn with the little handle. Okay? That way nothing sticks and one spot doesn't get too hot, and then you end up with burned popcorn at the bottom. And this doesn't take that long, so if you can just stand there and focus for those 5 minutes, you'll be fine. So I'm going to wait for this to start popping again, add my sugar, and I will return once I've done that, and I'll show you the finished product, and I will show you the salting the popcorn. So here's our popcorn, and I like to salt it while it's still warm. And I actually have a larger container that I'm going to be putting this into, so because I'll be making more, and I'll kind of turn it in my larger container just to evenly distribute the salt. I did have a little bit of trouble taking it out, I think because the combination of that being a new pan and then the amount of popcorn that I put in there. So I would probably put, maybe next time, not half, but maybe like 2/3 a cup of this particular brand of popcorn. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any ideas or tips of your own, or have any questions, feel free to ask. Have a good day. Bye.